Good evening. My name is John Michael Foulger. I'm represented by Mary Liz Management. I've been in the arts for what seems like an eternity. I'm known for the screen, big and small, stage and commercials. Rory.
Hello, I'm Rory Wilton, and I'm with Teresa at Filmcast Cornwall Southwest. I'm a TV, film, stage, radio, and voice-over artist, and I've been in the business for nearly 30-odd years. Crikey. Emma.
Hello, I'm Emma Spurgin Hussey, and I'm an actor and writer. And I've been doing this sort of thing for, well, many years. As soon as I realised I couldn't do anything much else, so I had to get on and do it. So, yes, I have been, what's it called? Shouting in the evenings for some time now. Erin, are you being invisible, or can I ask you to introduce yourself? I'm not sure. Hello.
Oh. Well, I'm Erin K. Moffat, and I'm a writer and actor, and I enjoy reading scripts, and I write myself, so it's really interesting to try to help somebody else.
Thank you.
I don't know who didn't. I just popped in. Sorry. Hi,
That's great. I'm Angela Elliott, and I'm a scriptwriter for hundreds of years, it feels like, but it's actually only been about 30. And scripts for documentaries and drama and film and novels. And so today we're going to be reading Divine Condescension by Rachel Wilson. Yeah.
Divine Condescension by Rachel Wilson. Esther, 24 years old, a Derbyshire resident who has spent the last week being tormented by the sudden appearance of the good and bad angels sitting on her shoulders, has allowed her new companions to goad her into an argument with her only and hopelessly boring best friend. It has not ended well. Other characters: the good angel, Mitriel, appears as male, late 30s. The bad angel, Nakir, appears as female, late 30s. Scene: Esther's flat, evening, present day. Glass smashes. The front door slams shut.
Ow, son of a...
Okay, relax. Worse things have happened at sea.
There are bits of glass in my fingers.
Yes, but there's a significant lack of water in your lungs, and the ground beneath your feet is still solid. So shush.
The ground doesn't feel very solid.
Come on, sit down.
Go for crumpling under Esther's weight.
Esther, as your good angel, I would like to recommend a doctor.
Truly enlightening advice. I don't know how I functioned without you two.
Yes, well, forgive me, oh greatest sage of our time, but please allow the bad angel to interject here. I'd like to remind you, Esther, that this is actually a good time for reflection.
Again, bleeding profusely from my hand.
Get a tissue. Get a tissue.
Tissue is drawn from a box. Esther hisses in pain.
Esther, you just stood up to your best friend, the dullest man on planet Earth, a man so dull he couldn't even qualify as an MP for Erewash.
That dull?
Sweetie, we've seen him. Simon Watts, a man in which all two of his hobbies involves a television, but somehow couldn't executive produce a show about the merits of watching paint dry.
And you befriended him.
The point is, we saw you do something you've never done till today. This could be a great source of change for you. Help you overcome your misery.
I just threw a jar of jam on the floor in a fit of rage. How exactly does that help me overcome my misery?
Well, instead of misery, you now feel anger, yes?
How is that better?
Don't ask me. You threw the jar.
You told me to throw it.
I'm your good angel. It's literally my job. Besides, he said it. I just encouraged it.
Well, I thought he was supposed to be the good angel.
Yes, well, he was experimenting.
Not now, Mizrael.
Okay, fine. Listen, I think what Nakira is trying to say is that you've known since childhood that Simon is blander than a Wetherspoon's menu. But finally telling him as much, that's a milestone.
A milestone? You're saying of all my life's achievements, that was a high point?
I don't know. Do you have any swimming medals?
So this is what my life is. I lose my job, scream at one of my only remaining friends because I've never been able to admit I can't stand him. Then I launch a glass missile at his feet, and now, and this is the real chestnut, I can literally see the good and bad angels on my shoulder, just to find they're as incompetent as I am.
Hey!
Relax, mates. If suffered worse insults. Remember Good Omens?
Excellent show. Shame it was so racist.
I kept using the D word.
What?
Demons.
What does it have to do with anything? You're just two freaks talking nonsense.
You know what? Couldn't give a toss. I tried my best. I wanted to be the bad angel.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, here we go. You think you had it bad, Esther. I've studied centuries for her position. I trained so hard. I once told the Queen to laugh in the face of an orphan. Can you imagine?
No, not really.
I told a film producer the Emoji Movie was a good idea. I dropped hints to John Lennon how big Jesus wasn't. The Blue Peter Garden in 1983, that was me.
Eh?
There's no joy in being good or encouraging goodness. Who wants a job where all you have to do is tell people to smile at pensioners, hug trees, and fart rainbows?
You're adorable.
What?
I'm the bad angel because, for a reason, mates. My experience, real experience. I'm 900 years old into this profession. I'm the reason Hitler only had one.
Neither of you are helping the situation, okay? Please just...
The doorbell rings.
Oh no, the living doorstop has returned.
Esther unlocks the door.
Hey, Simon.
Esther.
Throw your keys at him.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What?
What? Nothing. Sorry, long story.
Right. Well, I just...
Simon, I've had a bad week. I feel like I've had a bad year. There is literally no one else I could snap at today, so I ended up snapping at you. I'm sorry. I'm going to sort myself out. That's your phone over there. You just came to get your phone, didn't you?
I just came to get my phone.
Yeah.
Footsteps as Simon collects his phone and leaves in silence. The door clicks shut.
Yikes.
Throw your keys at him.
Yeah, I'm not on top form today. I had to get my daily quota in.
I'm going to need you both to shut up. Has it occurred to you I have my own conscience? I don't need two more.
Trust me, Esther, we're here for your own good.
Yeah. No one. And I mean, sorry. Yeah, no need to have such a chip on your shoulder.
I wish it was just a chip.
Doorbell again.
What? What?
Esther unlocks the door.
You know what? No, I didn't come just to my phone. I came to tell you that I'm not boring. I'm just comfortable, laid back. I'm at peace with where I am, you know, and you can't stand it.
You have any more jam jars?
A pickle jar would be bigger, you know.
Shut up.
What?
No, look, Simon, I didn't mean you were boring.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
I just feel like maybe we're in different places right now.
Oh, and what kind of place am I in?
A cul-de-sac?
Just a different place.
You think your life is going nowhere, but that's not my fault, is it? Maybe I actually like doing the same thing in, a day out. Maybe my life is fine and chilled, and you're just never happy. Also, I forgot my wallet too.
It's here.
Right. Well, thank you. Your hand is bleeding.
I know.
The door closes again and Esther slumps onto the sofa. She lets out a small sob.
Well, good angel. Would you care to interject here?
Not particularly.
Nakir clears her throat sternly.
Oh, I don't know. Esther, don't listen to me. Don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's saying. Anyone who thinks a night out is a chess match at their parents' basement is obviously too boring to know what they're saying.
I used to love those chess matches. What happened to me?
You got a life.
Nakir clears her throat again.
Fine. Wiser. I mean, you got wiser. You want more out of life now before it swallows you up and bores you out of existence. Believe me, I've been there.
You and me both.
So what do I do?
Well, what do you want to do?
I want to start again.
Bit vague.
You mean you want to go back to before all the sad days? Remember what made you happy and why you did it?
Yeah, I used to have plans.
So write them down and start from there.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I did. I wrote a letter to myself telling me that one day I'd be so good at my job, at least one person would end up in hospital.
And how's that working out for you?
Your hand's still bleeding.
Okay, that's short and sweet. Who'd like to start off with some feedback?
I loved it. The humour was right on my level. I just really enjoyed it. Really did. Nicely written. Characters are solid. I just really enjoyed it. Sorry, I know it's not a great lot of feedback, but I really,
That's good.
and I would definitely want to read the rest of it. So thank you, Rachel.
Okay. Rory.
Yes, I think the dialogue runs really nicely. It flows through well. I think it's well written. It thunders along. It sort of doesn't muck about, just jumps straight in the deep end. Nice characterization. I worry that it is very much in the ilk of Good Omens, and whether that could go against it. But I think there's a lot of fun playfulness in it. And yeah, I'm intrigued to find out what happens next.
Cool. Thank you. Emma.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. Thank you, Rachel, for sending it to us. Angela, you said you thought it was radio, didn't you?
I think her email says it's
Said it was radio.
Yes.
Oh, lovely, because we didn't have a title page or anything saying what it was. The usual thing that we find useful here is to know sort of time and place, and also the format, whether it's for short film, for radio, or whatever. So it's really helpful for us to sort of think in those terms. How far into the story are we? I'm not convinced it's the beginning few pages. I don't know. I could be wrong. But if it is the beginning, then there's a lot for us to sort of perhaps try and catch up with. Has she had these angels all the time and can only just see them, or have they only just appeared? They said in the last week. So obviously we're curious about what happened in the last week. How has that changed things for her? I did ask, what is everyone doing? And I suppose for radio, it's, you don't need that action, but you kind of do as well. We need to sort of feel a sense of movement, forward movement in the story, as well as, what people are doing physically, because it does feel a little bit static at the moment, even though, the pace is fairly sprightly. I just think be very clear in your head about what's actually going on. How long does it continue like this? I mean, are there other scenes in which we have contrasts of scenes? Because I think it could get quite hothousey just being in her head with her two, cartoon angels and devils on her shoulder potentially. So it'd be nice to have some contrasting scenes, different places, different paces as well. Yes, I did wonder, but I think this has been made clear listening to it after the initial read. Why would the good angel being so good at his job result in someone ending up in hospital? And of course, he wanted to be the bad angel. It all makes sense now. Yeah, how does this pan out? Do the angels continue to embarrass Esther? Because obviously there's lots of fun to be had of invisible characters, and they are chattering on, and other people can't see or hear them, and that's often quite fun. You know, what fun could you have with that? I wonder. You could have quite a lot, and yeah, I'm guessing that nobody else can see or hear them. And clearly, it's set in this country, I'm assuming, because you know, it's just certain things that you think, would I know what happened in the Blue Peter Garden in 1983? It was a bad thing,
That's a
and
very bad thing.
but I'm just
We were
wondering
very
if the
upset.
younger people might not, or people indeed, you know, from other lands might not. But yeah, it's just, and they said, and this is the chestnut, she said at one point, and I'm not sure whether you mean chestnut in that sense. I'm not entirely convinced, but yeah, I think it's got legs, and I think it's an interesting premise, and I would be, yeah, be very curious to know what happens in the rest of the story. So thank you. These are just questions that if it was my script, I would sort of think about perhaps having a little tap at and a question of.
Thank you, Erin.
I agree with everything everyone's saying as well, and I felt like it was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. I was curious too, though. I think that, like, is it Esther's story, or is it really Mitriel and Nakir's story, like, or one of them? Like, and is there? It seems like there's like some tension, maybe a backstory on the two of them too, which I think that's really the most intriguing part about it to me. Is there's a movie Bedazzled that's like older with Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley, and she plays like the devil, and like at the end of the movie, I might be wrong, but she and God are like playing chess together, and it was just really interesting to think, like, you know, good and evil, like knowing each other and like having a history always like kind of like sat with me. And I like the fact that they seem to like know each other well. And how much of a history do they have with Esther, as far as have they been on her shoulders forever, but they're just kind of suddenly appearing? So I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I'd like to see where it's going. And like Emma said, I'd like to see if this is like in the middle, or if there's more that comes, or there's more before.
Well, I've just looked at her email. It is actually all there is. So it's a short piece.
I do wonder with
that before,
with the description at the beginning, whether it's intended, it's a sort of sketch as part of a thing in development.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to write it where you have theatre and radio tends to have their characters up front, don't they? Listed.
Yeah.
You need to include Simon, because he's not in that list of characters.
Even if he is that boring.
And even if he is that boring, he still needs to be there. We still need to see him. The other thing that came to my mind was, yes, Good Omens. It's very yes, it's very reminiscent of that. I can see how you would be, you know, influenced by that, because it was excellently done. The thing that came to mind as we were playing it was, I'm not sure whether these angels are actually different enough to one another. And the test is, if you swap the names round on the dialogue, would it make any difference? I'm not sure it would, to tell you the honest truth, because if we've got one that wanted to be a bad angel, but he's got to really be, he can't stop himself from being good, because he's the good angel, even though he wants to be bad. So he can't just be bad and just agree with everything the bad angel says, because he's got to be good. That's the name.
His job.
He's the good angel. So I think you've got to give him some conflict. This is an angel in conflict, you know, and he's conflicted within himself. That really gives him some depth as a character, doesn't it? You know. So I just know I'm just not sure. I would have made those characters at the extreme ends of their goodness and badness, just to really, you know, make them different. And other than that, yeah, it flowed along. The dialogue flowed along very nicely, and I felt quite sorry for poor Simon, you know. What's wrong with him? He's just a nice bloke, you know. He's just, you know, you think, what the hell does she want in her life, you know?
He seems a bit passive aggressive, but then he's just had a jar thrown at him, so maybe we can forgive.
Yeah.
I think you're allowed to be if you've just had jam from it.
I mean, I would be tempted to open it with a shout and a smashing glass. Well, we do glass smash, front door slam shut. I mean, but I would tempted to really kind of maybe have Simon at that point, you know, sort of going, oh, you know, why did
There's
you?
no need for that.
Yeah, exactly. Some
Covered with
line in there,
bristling
you know.
with glass.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, interesting. Anyway, thank you so much.